Let's bring in our market experts. Mario Gabelli is chairman of Gabelli Funds, Jack Gage of Forbes magazine, and Peter Schiff, Euro Pacific Capital and author of The Little Book of Bull Moves in Bear Markets. Mario, let me begin with you. We haven't seen you in a while, and I want to catch up, and it's great to see you. In case you've forgotten, let's look at the 5 big mustard seeds. We're going to put them back on the full screen because I think a lot of people have forgotten the positive mustard seeds. We'll put them up on the full screen. A humongous drop in retail gas prices from $4.20 to $1.66. $360 billion consumer savings, according to Professor Mark Perry of the Carpe Diem blog. $40 oil down from $150. That's going to help corporate profits. Of course, rock bottom mortgage rates. A big Federal Reserve pump priming, which is expanding the money supply like there's no tomorrow. And 6 to 9 or 12 months, that hits the economy. And thawing credit spreads. LIBOR spreads are really coming down big time. Mario, do you think this is going to be a recovery mustard seed? Are people just too pessimistic, including this morning's Wall Street Journal?
Larry, from my point of view, the economy is going to continue to decelerate. Layoffs coming after Christmas will accelerate, but those are baked into the market. On top of that, on mustard seed number 6, which you don't have there.
What's that?
Enormous fiscal stimulation for consumption, for investment, for productivity.
You think government spending is going to be stimulative?
I think that you're going to have, for example, for businesses which are frozen, every company that I've been listening to worrying about liquidity, worrying about CapEx, something for capital expenditures. Put in an investment tax credit.
Oh.
Put in accelerated depreciation.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking.
Oh. That's what I thought I was doing.
Well, it hasn't been announced yet. Washington Post Sunday article has a paragraph that says the Obama team is considering business tax cuts, which could be cash expensing an investment tax cut. Who knows? Maybe you'll be cutting corporate tax rates. Okay, let's put that in the pile. Doesn't that virtually guarantee a recovery next year? And aren't people just too pessimistic right now? They've lost their minds. They've lost their bearings. They're demoralized. I understand this, but why? Why? They're ignoring the facts. Mustard seeds are growing.
9 months from now, Larry, 91% of this country will be employed.
Right.
They'll get confidence back, and all of those little elements you're putting in. On a global basis, the number you gave for oil consumption in the United States was a little higher than my numbers, but on a global basis, it's $600 billion for the consumers. There are 700 million cars on the road in the world, 250 million in the United States. So while we're having a cold spell right now, I think even in the springtime, you'll start seeing some improvements.
So springtime. Yeah. Springtime. I couldn't agree more.
The numbers are going to look better.
And it's important not to listen to economists who are saying not until the end of 2009. It's very important not to listen to economists. Last question. Hang on, Peter Schiff. I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you. Where to invest safely? Where to invest safely right now, in your judgment?
In my judgment, Larry, over the next 5 years, who's going to be on the next Forbes 400 list? Right?
That's right.
And it's not going to be those that put their money in 1% T-bills. On the other side, if you've been in T-bills, you have an opportunity to go out and buy more gasoline for the same dollar. You have an opportunity to buy more stocks and more suits.
More stocks, more suits.
That's it. But let me finish up on the consumer. The notion of giving to the consumer a cut, the working person a cut in his FICA tax, suspended for 6 months, not the $500 shot. If you're making $40,000, your biggest tax is your 6.2%.
That ain't a bad idea.
Your 6.2% FICA tax. Keep it for the employer. Let it.
They're going to change the withholding rate, by the way. That's better than a tax credit if that's how they're going to do it. Peter Schiff, mustard seeds. Your turn.
Well, first of all, if anything, Larry, people are not pessimistic enough. They don't realize how bad this is going to be. This bear market has a long, long way to run. And, you know, unfortunately, all the government stimulus is going to stifle the economy. You know, it's going to impede any natural recovery that the market would have been able to orchestrate absent government interference.
How about a business tax cut, Peter?
Well, look, I mean, cutting taxes is great if the government cuts spending, but if they simply borrow more money and bring us more into debt or print more money and deliver more inflation, those negatives are going to more than offset the advantage of any tax cuts.
How about plunging gas prices at the pump, Peter?
Well, A, that's only temporary. They're going to go back up, but that's being more than offset by many other negatives that are certainly running in the face of the consumer, such as the fact that his home equity has disappeared, his mortgage is resetting higher, maybe he's unemployed or he's underemployed.
Peter, mortgage rates Generational lows.
No, but
unbelievable. Look, we got a chart of the 30-year mortgage rate and the short-term rates are
Larry,
coming down.
I'm talking about the guy that was relying on the teaser rate that is now resetting. And even though rates are low, they're not going to be as low as what the teaser rate was. Now, sure, some people are going to be able to refinance their underwater mortgages and get a reduction. But I think in general, you're going to have more people with headwinds and tailwinds.
All right, so you don't buy the mustard seed planting mustard seeds into recovery. You're out. Jack Gage, what is your response? Peter Schiff, pretty smart guys, an excellent forecasting record, and the great Mario Gabelli also is turning optimistic for next year. How about it, Jack?
Yeah, I think there were a couple incongruous points today. When we look at, for instance, the commodities, we saw oil and we saw gas prices still at low levels. There was a time when a cold snap would have brought about higher natural gas prices, higher fuel costs.
Let's stop there.
And there's a disconnect.
That's a wonderful point. Oil fell again today. You're down $40, about to probably drop below $40, despite global cooling, and despite the Saudi production cuts, and of course the obvious, the drop in retail gas is breathtaking. How can people ignore that? For the last 3 or 4 days, they've ignored about a 15% drop in world oil prices. What is up with that?
What we've seen is a tightening of the correlation between oil and the economy. Oil is now trading as a proxy for the U.S. economy, and I think it represents what we were saying, that overly pessimistic view of where the economy is going to be in 6 months. I tend to agree with Mario, yourself, 6 months out. I think we could be in a much better position than we are today. I think if you look at just bank stocks, for instance, and the health of their balance sheets, they are starting to come together. We're starting to see some of this direct stimulus from the government.
You still 11,000 down?
Yeah, absolutely. I think by the end of
Peter Schiff, what do you think? Gage says 11,000 down, Peter.
When?
What?
When?
By the end of 09.
End of next year, 11,000 down, Peter. What do you make of it?
Look, if the Dow goes to 11,000 by next year, gold is going to be at 2,000 or higher. So it's not really going to matter. But I don't think the market's going higher. I still think nominally the market's going to move even lower over the next year. Again, there's nothing to turn this economy around, but there's a lot of things that are going to make it worse.
Mario Gabelli, last word. In this segment, you all come back. I just need a quick one. Single best safe investment in your judgment right now.
Well, Larry, I just want to throw in a couple of more items.
Not too many.
FASB 157, you got to change it. Sarbanes-Oxley, you got to change it. You got to put small businesses back into the game.
You are correct, but you're qualifying. We don't know if that'll happen. Maybe it will. Mary Shapiro. You can't be any worse than Chris
I've got
Cox,
a Christmas list. I got a Christmas list.
Single
Mine
best
is not secret.
safe investment. Single best safe investment for those who are dispirited and demoralized.
I like quality companies that are basically having pricing power, and that will be taken over.
For example.
And I own all of these.
For example.
And I'm buying them. Cadbury, Schweppes, U.S. Cellular. I'm not looking at 50% gains anymore like I did in
Cadbury, U.S. Cellular.
I'm energized. I'm looking for companies that can triple, Larry, triple.
Look outside the United States. There's plenty of them.
Look in the United States, and there are plenty of them.
He wants outside U.S. Peter, we're going to come back.
Play golf where he wants.
No, I like his international play. We're going to come back. Listen, tough stuff. Everybody stay right where you are. We have much more to cover, lots more, and plus we're going to head overseas to open up the Asian markets, and Peter Schiff himself wants to fly us all overseas to make our investments. CNBC reports. I'm Larry Kudlow. We'll be right back straight ahead.